I believe we are about to witness a shift. If anything, this is not something that is going to happen. It has already happened. It has begun. And I do not believe it's going to stop. What happened to Charlie Kirk had a profound effect on a lot of people, and there are plenty of reasons as to why that is the case. This historical event was a catalyst for change, and its effects onto the psychology of the masses are as impactful as they feel unquantifiable. But it does not stand alone. Before that, we had Irina Zarutska, rest in peace, you beautiful soul. Before that, we had the shooting of the innocent children at Annunciation Catholic Church. Before that, we had the catastrophic natural disaster that happened in Texas during the flooding. If any of you is watching from Texas and you've lost family members and loved ones for it, my heart goes to each and every single one of you. While it may appear that all of these events have nothing in common, in reality they do. At each and every single one of these occurrences, you had a certain amount of insane, radical, far leftists that decided to laugh about it. And make no mistake, I was live when this happened. I had to block hundreds of people that came to spam my live chat telling me, oh, the children died? Good, it's a red state. They were going to become conservative anyways. Likewise, when the shooting at the Catholic Church happened, plenty of TikTok brain rot demonstrated once again the lack of humanity that is permeating the current generation. They've been emptied. The usual comments being, oh, the children died, boo-hoo, they were going to become bigots anyways. The stabbing of this poor girl, because of this, in my opinion, racist piece of shit. And as we see, we get a bunch of people that are endorsing it. They say she deserved it because she's the oppressor. But everything culminated in this historic event of catastrophic mass psychological proportions. It dropped the mask from the tens of thousands of people that made TikToks and videos and YouTube shorts and Twitch live streams where they were just laughing and their masks were dropped, revealing an empty husk. And once the cover was gone, we could see the naked, rusty, grinding gears in their brains, turning all decency into dust. Something changed. I've seen a lot of friends of mine telling me, hey, I'm left-wing, but I don't want to have anything to do with those people. I'm not like them. I believe them. But I've also seen a lot of other friends. They made posts. You know what they said? Hey, I always consider myself a left-winger, but today, no, I'm a centrist now. Personally, as I've always said, if you're left-leaning, but you're decent and you condemn what this has happened, I have no problems with you. If anything, I think you're going to have some problems with the radical crazies. They're going to call you far right anyways. I personally think it's always good to see people move towards center. But what I'm also seeing is a lot of people moving right. And those who were already in the right, moving further right. It is, indeed, a shift. The proportions of which we are yet to see. Now, as you probably know, I cannot stand TikTok. I hate everything about this app. However, my wife told me that this lady here made some really, really good analyses from her perspective as someone who has, I believe, a PhD in history. I watched them and yeah, she's really good. So I do want to share it with you. Now, where the heck do you see the username? Because I want to give proper credit, but I don't know how to use TikTok. Crying out loud, I hate it. Oh, there he is. That thing I do. Do follow her. I think she has really good perspectives. So without further ado.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've had too much education and too much training to ever see historical events the same way other people do. I'm a PhD student of American history maintaining a 4.0. I'm not watching the event. I'm watching the public. I'm watching the people's reaction to the event because that's going to determine what happens next. Here's the pattern I've observed. The initial response to the assassination of Charlie Kirk was celebration in the streets. There were people standing on street corners holding signs. There were individuals who were coming all over social media, cheering, clapping. They were dancing with disco party lights in the background. It was a national celebration that someone had been assassinated. Historically speaking, national celebrations of the assassination of political rivals does not go well. Historically speaking, it doesn't go well. And very shortly after that, within an hour, the dominating discussion became a condemnation of those celebrations.
Part of it.
With many people feeling like something has flipped.
Yes.
Some fuse has been lit. Nobody knows what's coming. Nobody knows what's happened. There's a feeling that something is turned. As somebody who's studied history, you're right, something has been lit. Nobody knows what it's attached to yet. Nobody knows where this is going to go. But something has been lit, as it always does when you have national celebrations of political assassinations. Over the next several days, even weeks, I will be watching for additional patterns to emerge, because there are patterns that you can follow. There are things that pop up that let you know just what exactly is coming. And that's what I'm going to be watching for. The rollback and the illogical fallacy arguments have already begun from the celebrators and the individuals who supported their celebration. But even with that rollback, it's not enough to stop the momentum that has started on the side of those who find the celebration abhorrent. You should be paying attention, because the next few days are going to be really interesting.
Man, she's good. She's good. Like, I apologize profusely for making any of you watch TikTok, but this is like one of those exceptions to confirm the rule, right? Political assassinations do have historic patterns to them. It's not only political assassinations in the modern sense, because when you say political assassinations, you often imagine anything past, I'd say starting from World War I, World War II, and then modern period. But this happened in ancient times. It happened in the medieval period. It is a pattern. And it probably has to do with mass psychology, because remember, the psychology of the masses functions differently from the psychology of the individual. Let's see the next one.
What I'm watching right now is to see where we are in the arc of escalation. Interestingly, there's a pattern in history where there's a 20 to 30 year buildup of grievance before there ends up being like a major revolution or an assassination. In this country, we've had 20 to 30 years of grievance. We had children raised up under the grievances of their parents. And now they have what's called an inherited grievance, where their parents will tolerate the injustice that they see.
Yeah.
The children will not tolerate it. And they are more likely to engage in much more physical and violent manners to be able to change the world, because the grievance is their entire life. It becomes their identity. Those who have initially celebrated the assassination have not only clawed back their initial celebration, but they're also delegitimizing the event itself.
It's true. It's called lying. I mean, sorry for the non-technical term. But yeah, it's insane. The twisting. And they will do. That's why I've been recording all of this. That's why I've been showing and preserving archives of these people. And it's not just me. Shoe on Head has been doing that too. Like, we've been showing their faces on screen. And it's important to do it because they will gaslight you. They will tell you it didn't happen. Did you see that now they're saying there was no blood whatsoever during the murder of Charlie Kirk? If you tell a lie enough times, people will believe it. But I've seen it. Honestly, I've never seen so much blood in my life. Did it affect me? Oh yeah, my heart was racing. But I'm telling you, it was not the most impactful video that I watched that day. The video that really, really scarred me that day, it was the one when I saw his little girl run to him to hug him. That's the one that flipped me.
This is because a countershift has occurred. A targeted group is no longer tolerating and is making a shift to retaliate. The group that was celebrating, the initiating group, is now trying to de-escalate the situation by drawing the conversation back to where the initial political grounds used to be.
I'd like to point out not all are doing it, because there are still people celebrating. It's just that some have had consequences. Thank God, streamers have been banned and people have lost jobs. But there are people that are doubling down. There are people that said, I lost my dream job of 10 years, but I will do it again just because I need to stand against fascism and bigotry. There are still people that do this. I would say that, yes, it is happening, what she's saying, but it's...
The group that was celebrating, the initiating group, is now trying to de-escalate the situation by drawing the conversation back to where the initial political grounds used to be. But the ground is shifted. It doesn't exist anymore. So what's happening now in this particular arc is we're looking at a legitimacy crisis. And I am specifically checking to see whether or not the initiating group, the ones who celebrated, are able to establish legitimacy again. If they can survive, if they can find their footing again, this event will be sanitized to be able to preserve them long term. And if they can't, this will accelerate.
I told you, she is great. I mean, if you like this, I'm only showing 3, but she's going to continue this. So you should, if you use TikTok. If you don't have TikTok, I'd tell you don't download it. But if you already have it, then, yeah, let's see. Number 3.
So I was getting ready to turn in for the evening, and I saw that the
Hi.
calls for unity had started, so I thought I'd come out here and I'd talk about it. When a group is unable to distance themselves from something that they've done politically, i.e. assassinate a rival, inevitably they end up going to, we need unity. But the burden of unity never falls on the shoulders of the aggressor.
Of course.
It always falls on the shoulder of somebody that they've ended up victimizing. It allows the aggressor to then take the moral high ground, saying, well, this could all be over if you just forgive us.
AKA destiny.
They are placing the burden of forgiveness, of unifying everyone, on the shoulders of the people that they've injured. Nobody should be alarmed or angry or upset by the calls for unity. This is just textbook historical response timeline. And what it reveals is not only how out of control the situation has become for the aggressor, but how fractured the group has become. Within 10 minutes of each other, I saw a call for the assassin to finish the job because he left 2 children alive, and a demand for unity.
Disgusting. There can be no unity until there is justice. I'm just going to say it. Now, when I say justice, of course, I don't mean any call to violence. I want to make sure that this is crystal clear. I'm just saying that according to the law, the people that have indeed been doing calls to violence and direct threats and incitement to violence need to be investigated and possibly arrested because their speech is not protected. It's not free speech to do incitement to violence. So that's something that needs to happen. Of course, we need the shooter, but we have him already, so that's great. But something needs to change with these social media platforms that allow you to do all of this. And even the mass firing is another good thing. Like, something needs to happen. We need to see justice. Telling us, calm down, bro, is not enough. She's great.
The party is at polar demand for unity. The party is at polar opposites. The aggressor group is completely fractured. And the only way to stop the temperature from continuing to rise in the nation is for there to be forgiveness. As a historian who's studying patterns, given how volatile everything is right now, I do not like this. I do not like where things are going. There is always a second event. There is always a second spark. There is always 1 and 2. And we're in the middle of them. If the temperature does not go down by the time there is a second event, the second spark will light a fire.
So she said we need forgiveness. And as I say, yeah, absolutely, but there has to be consequences and justice before we can talk forgiveness. That's what I think. It's simply because if you just forgive, they'll do it again. So something needs to change. Now, when it comes to the second spark, I hope she's wrong. I do know what pattern she's talking about. There are a bunch of historical events that come to mind when it comes to that. I really hope nothing happens. That's where we are, number one. She did use the word, the aggressor is in polar opposite, it's split, and she's absolutely right. Right now, the left is split in 2, and I like to define them as the disgusting and the disgusted. So, you watching here, and I see you in the comments, I see a lot of enraged right-wingers, and justly so. I see a lot of enraged centrists, because, yeah, they're human, they're humane, they're like, hey, I didn't like Charlie Kirk, but what the heck? So they're great. And then I see left-wingers that tell me, hey, I'm a left-winger and of course disagreed, but this is horrible and what the hell are the other people doing? I don't want to have anything to do with that. And then there are the people that come in the comments and tell me, yeah, he deserved it because he's a bigot and I can't wait for the rest of to finish the family. Now, they are both lefties, right? The last 2 that I mentioned. So it is absolutely split, but it isn't a fracture that's why I liked that she said polar opposites, because it's not a fracture that is like this. They have some areas of disagreement, but generally speaking, a bit like, when we used to say liberal, progressive, this, that. No, this is polar opposites now. And that's what's creating the shift, so that the radical ones now consider everyone an enemy, including the rest of the left-wingers that to them are traitors. The ones that are showing humanity. The ones that are saying, hey, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. I'm right-leaning, I've said this a lot of times, but someone can be left-leaning, for example, when it comes to the economic structures, when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to social issues, all of things that you can absolutely have in a free country, and I would be more than happy to sit down and have a coffee and debate and discuss, and I'm sure that we will find some areas of agreement, plenty of areas of disagreement, but at the end of the day, I would respect you. And perhaps I could even learn from you if you explain things in a way that is convincing, educated, and functional. However, the others, all of these tens of thousands, because remember, it's tens of thousands. We're not talking 300 nut jobs. Tens of thousands have been making these videos of celebrations. They think you are right-wing now. They think you are a traitor, because they're a cult. That's why when you see someone like Destiny that tells you, oh, the myth of the radical factions, the myth? But you know what I mean. There absolutely is a difference. So if you are someone who's left-leaning or someone who's solidly left-leaning, but you are not like that scum, separate yourself from them. Join the center. Come to the center. The shift is happening. And the insanity that we have seen is much bigger than you think. Because yes, I mentioned tens of thousands of people, social media posts, videos, shorts, whatever you want to call them, reels. But what about the likes? There were videos with 500,000 likes. It is a pandemic of the destruction of the mind.